Draymond Green was on First Take on ESPN recently, earlier this week. And I'm not sure if it was earlier this week or last week, but anyway, it was recently. And yeah, he made some comments about LeBron James that I want to discuss. Oh, we got it. Okay, here it is.
I think LeBron uses a lot of power, and as he should. I think arguably the greatest player of all time. You look at his resume; it's flawless on and off the court. The things that he's been able to do on the court, obviously spectacular. But it's more important the things that he's been able to accomplish off the court, and that's where he get the utmost respect from me from. It's not about what he's done on the basketball court. As a competitor, I enjoy playing against him. You enjoy playing against the best. But what he's done off the court and, the initiatives that he's been able to lead, and this is just another example of that, I have the utmost respect for him. Hopefully he run for president one day.
Does Draymond come with his own theme music? Or what was that?
I don't know what that was.
I think it's just the stuff they play on there.
Oh, wow. Okay,
so
that was
loud,
on ESPN's First Take, as we said. Rob, I think I don't know if you've ever heard me tell this story, but, I did a lot of cover stories. I think I did about 6 cover stories on LeBron for ESPN, the magazine. And for one of them, I was talking to the family. You know his story, how in 5th grade he went to live with the family of one of his best friends for 3 years. And it was a husband and wife and the kids. And so the grandfather of that family went to pick LeBron and his friend up from school one day. LeBron was in either 6th or 7th grade. And the the principal of the school came out, met the grandfather, who was picking LeBron and his friend up, and said to the grandfather, this kid, meaning LeBron, could be president one day. Now, that just shows you, what type of impact, obviously, LeBron had made on the principal. And I'll say this, and I'm not trying to act like LeBron James is, Barack Obama or some tremendous politician or statesman or something like that. I'll just say this. I firmly believe, Rob, and I've been told by those close to him that at least at this point, he has no intentions whatsoever of running for political office. So right now, this is just talk. I actually think, Rob, if, what's he, 35, if 10, 15 years from now, he ran for president, I think he would win. I really think he would. And I think he'd be a good president. Again, he'd have to learn a lot of things, but obviously a lot of his delegation and, putting people in power to help you run the government. So, but I actually really think he could, if he ran, I think he could be president.
I couldn't disagree with you more. I don't think LeBron on any level is presidential, and I'm not talking about the current guy in the White House.
I was about to say, like, the standards dropped.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just
Ronald Reagan was an actor.
That's fine, but I just don't see him in that light. I think LeBron he's done so many good things. So I'm not trying. I don't even want to appear like I'm tearing down his off the court stuff. But Chris, he's political. He's active when it suits him and when it works for him. The thing in China, you could say whatever you want. It's not our fight and the other corporations or whatever. But there was when he went after the Rockets GM for saying that he wants to stand with Daryl Morey, stand with democracy. I mean, like he said, Daryl Morey didn't know what he was talking about and all this kind of. I just didn't understand at all what that meant to say. There are people fighting for democracy in Hong Kong, and that's all the tweet was, that this country's built on democracy here. So you stand with other countries who are trying to fight for their democracy. So he wanted no part of that. And the same thing here. Now, I'm not saying that he had to be involved with the Kyrie and he just wants to hoop, and that's fine. If this was last year and maybe LeBron wasn't in the playoffs and the Lakers were no good, would it be a different story about finishing the regular season? And this is his best last chance to win. So to me, those are the things that when I look at LeBron, I just can't put him.
That's pure speculation.
That's what I'm saying. I said it was. I said it was. That's just me. Just talking about looking at the situation. So I'm saying I don't look at him in that sense as president. Like he could be president and people would follow his lead. Even some of the stuff he's done. Other guys, Jalen Rose have opened up schools. Other athletes have done stuff like that. Other athletes, and not to the degree of him, so I give him credit, Chris, with the college for a lot of kids, scholarships.
You got 1,000 kids can go to scholarships.
And stuff like that. Yeah. But other people have done stuff maybe who don't have all of his means, but they've done it on their level to give back to the community and stuff. So
no question.
That's all.
But the thing is, all the things you said, none of that would preclude him from being president.
I said in my mind. I'm giving you my opinion.
You wouldn't
not
vote
whether
for,
or not
you don't think he should be, but I'm not even giving my opinion.
Yeah, I'm giving my opinion. I don't look at him that way.
He's popular enough. He's respected enough.
He's polarizing too. There's a lot of people.
Most politicians are polarizing, especially in this day and age. He's got a family, a strong family life. He's obviously done things in the business world. He's done things in the public sector. Like, I just think he really, and I might be wrong, but when I look at Ronald Reagan, who was an actor, when I look at Donald Trump, who was basically a reality TV star, and obviously he's rich and wealthy, but I mean, I really think that he has enough respect from people where he could do it. But let me ask you this. Do you think, because I've had this discussion with a lot of people, because LeBron obviously, as you mentioned, has done tremendous things off the court. And now he's got the More Than a Vote campaign, and he and Maverick Carter are starting another entertainment company to make movies and things that are, featuring, people that have been disenfranchised and, people of color who haven't had that opportunity to tell their story. So they're really still doing a lot of great things. Do you think, because I've talked to a number of people who want to put LeBron's off the court stuff, off the court achievements, accomplishments, goodwill, and all that in the GOAT conversation. They say, well, look, Muhammad Ali lost 5 fights, but yet he's viewed as the GOAT of boxing. So a lot of it's because he didn't go to Vietnam and the things he stood for. It's not just in the ring, and they want to apply that to LeBron. I refuse to. When I talk about Jordan being better than LeBron, it is a basketball thing for me. I don't bring in all the off-the-court stuff. Where are you at on that?
Yeah, I think that's just, they look at LeBron where he is. They know because he hasn't won enough, and the guy ahead of him was perfect. You know what I mean? In the finals. So you got to try to look for other ways to try to elevate him because they know they can't do it with just the basketball stuff alone. So now they look for something else. I'm with you. I just, it's, when you're talking about who is the greatest basketball player of all time, the other stuff is nice, Chris, and it could, you can tell a nice story about you, but that's not the deciding factor. There are a lot of nice people, and people have done great things or whatnot. Should they put you in the Hall of Fame because you were a nice guy and you talked to everybody and you bought kids sneakers and gave out a couple scholarships? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't buy that. I just think that's just a way of trying to build up LeBron because he's lacking in the basketball stuff.
Basketball.
Yeah,
right.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. And because look, and you can make an argument. You and I don't agree. I think most people don't agree. But you can make an argument for LeBron as the GOAT on the court. But Ali, for those that want to just say it's off the court stuff too, no, I mean, you can make that same argument for Ali as just boxing wise, because we know he lost 3 years, probably would have been the best 3 years of his career, and then when he comes back, he's rusty and really wasn't as great as he wasn't the same fighter. But his losses, I mean, he's old when he lost to Trevor Burbick, old when he lost to Larry Holmes. You know, he lost to Joe Frazier, his first loss when he was rusty. And it was only his second or third fight back.
And the other thing, Chris, too, is, you know, like when you look at him, he fought all the guys. He wasn't ducking people.
Yes.
So even when you have some losses and you got, you know, Mayweather, who's undefeated, but you go, well, who did he beat?
He waited
you know,
8 years to fight Manny.
Do you know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
So people, they discount that. They say back then they had to fight to make money, Chris. There weren't no gazillion-dollar TV deals. They had to fight the guys who were in front of them, and that's why I think Ali gets so much respect, because who did he duck? He didn't duck anybody.
He fought everybody.
He fought everybody who was there, and that's why I still think that people don't. No one's saying you have to be perfect, and even a guy who never, Rocky Marciano, guys who never lost, nobody embraced him because he fought a lot of tin cans and cupcakes, Chris. Right? Everybody knows
Nobody puts him in the GOAT conversation. And to be honest, boxing historians, while we all acknowledge Floyd is an all-time great,
no doubt.
I don't know many, if any, that would say he's the greatest fighter of all time. I mean, I just, so you're right. Like in boxing, I mean, heck, it's your courage to fight whoever's in front of you, you know, and see if you can overcome. And that's what Ali did.
And if you can come back, say you lose and you come back.
Yeah, the guts to come back. A lot of guys can't come back, you know, once that air of invincibility is broken, you know. What last thing do you think LeBron could ever get to a point, or maybe eventually will get to a point, where his off-the-court stuff overshadows his playing career? Now, I'll say if he were to ever run for president and obviously win it, then obviously that would overshadow his playing career. But do you think forget that, just the stuff he's doing otherwise, business-wise, politically, whatever that may be, you think he might overshadow, because he's not going away. You know what I mean? Like when he retires, he's not going away.
I don't think that's gonna. I don't think so. I mean, you can look at Michael Jordan, where he is financially with the Jordan brand, what he's been able to do. He's a player who owns a team. All the obstacles that he has knocked down in front of him.
Right. And
when people look at him, as successful as he is off the court, Chris, it's about how great he was as a player. That's how great. So I'm just not convinced that unless, like you say, unless I'm misreading this and he becomes president, other than that, I really don't see what else with the media company, what else he really could do that would change and put that ahead of him being thought of as a great basketball player.
Yeah, you're going to think of him as a basketball player unless he becomes president.
I think of Michael Jordan as that. I do.
Right. No, I agree with that. All right, your turn to weigh in, 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Should LeBron's off-the-court activism and just business success, should that factor into the GOAT conversation? I've had this discussion with many people. They think it should. Isaiah Thomas, Rob, our friend, he said he calls LeBron the GOAT because of what he's done off the court. So what do you think? Should it factor in the GOAT convo? Your turn to weigh in. It's the Odd Couple, Chris and Rob, Fox Sports Radio.
All right, GW in Cincinnati. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Man,
What's
it's been a while, brother.
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
Where
how
you
doing,
been,
Rob?
man?
Hey, just keeping a low profile, man. You know how I do. I stay out of trouble that way.
Right.
Let me say this, Chris. For me personally, LeBron already passed Michael Jordan as far as off the court is concerned, because LeBron is unapologetically.
We know off the court. We that's not even debatable, right?
Right.
On the court.
But I think LeBron has a chance to be in a respected class of the Jim Browns, the Oscar Robertsons, the Bill Bradleys, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I think he's already in that class.
Right. Men that I respect more than Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan, the way you talk about impact of LeBron, athletes are speaking up today because LeBron gives them coverage. Michael didn't give that coverage to Craig Hodges when Craig Hodges went to him in Magic and said, hey, I need your voice. And Michael was the biggest voice on the planet. Michael was bigger than the president. If a Jesse Helms type candidate ran in Akron, Ohio, LeBron James would support Harvey Gantt. It wouldn't take us 20 years later to find out that Republicans buy shoes too. Wasn't a myth. That Michael actually
but the only thing
I
is,
agree with what you said.
but
GW.
we're talking about the GOAT and Michael by far.
Yeah.
Michael still,
LeBron's
as far as
impact is
basketball.
bigger than shoes.
I
we
disagree.
agree with. Well, I agree with you there. I'm just saying, when we say who's the GOAT in basketball, you sounds like you do weigh in all the other stuff. You don't just keep it on the court.
I'm actually old enough to actually know that if we really want to talk about GOAT conversation, it should be Kareem. He has the greatest basketball.
No,
career,
that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about.
You can make a strong argument against Kareem too, because Moses used to eat him up in the 80s.
Yes, and you've made the point during his NBA career before Magic got there and rejuvenated it. It wasn't that pretty. So let's not get crazy.
Not wins, not as far as
And if
winning.
you're talking about just a basketball player, I'm with you. If you talk about high school, college, and the pros, okay. But don't say NBA. I'm not buying it. Max in Georgia, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, good evening, fellas.
What's happening, Max?
Hey, guys, this is a good question, but I think it's pretty simple. For me, I think he's already shown he's not that person. I think he really made a huge mistake this year when he showed kind of how he felt about basic human rights, how he felt about the bottom dollar. I was a little bit offended he didn't call out Adam Silver and any other NBA owners for what they have and haven't done this year with everything going on from China to today. I think he's too much passive-aggressive on Twitter. We already kind of have a Twitter president. I don't think we want to see that again. I think his personal life could be highlighted and kind of brought to a light that maybe he would not want to be seen, good and bad. I think
it would be if he was in the public eye like
that.
That.
Right, and I don't think he's able to handle that. And lastly, Chris, do you think in a crisis situation of national security, is he going to be able to rely on Kyrie or Ray Allen to save him?
Oh, my. Hey, Kyrie, can you push this button? Can you push this button?
You that to say,
Max,
my goodness.
And Max,
Rob
you got to
Jr.
get in. You got to get in for 6 minutes. Where have you been?
No, you don't.
Yes,
Max
you do.
is forbidden.
No,
Max
why?
is forbidden to be
Max
on.
has not been.
Max has probably called this show 50-something times, and every single time he agrees with you.
No, he doesn't.
Max is absolutely forbidden to be
No,
on
he's not. He
6
should
minutes.
be able to call him for 6 minutes.
No,
I didn't need you today, but I'm just saying, man.
I don't even know how these callers were off today. But here's what I'll say, right? Here's the one thing I'll say. And you know, we were both critical of him for the Hong Kong thing. I did think that was an opportunity. That was his Ali moment.
That was, Chris.
He would have been like, he could have spoke. And look, in fairness, Ali fought in some places with dictators. The Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire, Mobutu Sese Seko was an African dictator. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying,
think
but
in the Philippines,
nobody's got to be perfect. But there was that. You talk about being a global icon and being that guy, Chris. All it was about democracy.
I totally agree. But here's the one thing, and y'all know I was critical of him. The one thing I'll say, though, is virtually nobody in America, as far as the politicians and the businessmen, they're all kowtowing to China. All the businesses in America that go over there and do business with China, they're all doing what LeBron James did. They're turning a blind eye so they make that money. So I'm just saying, if we're going to give a pass to these corporations, I'm going to expect one individual to step up. Now, it would have been great. It would have been his Ali moment.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, right. Because he would have separated himself from everybody else. You would have said, LeBron is the real deal. They making sneakers over there, and he's talking about human rights, okay?
He would have become the hero not only of many kids in America, but you're talking about people all over the world. All the impoverished, oppressed people in the world would have been having LeBron James' name on their mouth.
No doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it. So.
How about Darren in Idaho? You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Darren?
Hey, fellas. Love listening to your show.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, hey, here's my point, okay? Look, whatever LeBron does off the field or off the court is like a bargain to us because he doesn't know anything. He doesn't have to do anything. So whatever he does, that's just extra.
That's true.
Icing on the cake for us. as
He
far
could
as
just be a
being the
basketball
GOAT,
player. Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as being a GOAT, oh my, how can look? I'm old enough to have watched Michael Jordan his whole entire career, and you got to know that if you're a businessman and you know now or knew then what you might know now, you would take LeBron over Jordan all day long to build your franchise, because Jordan had to do it with players that in this day and age would be too expensive. And LeBron doesn't need that expensive of players to get you to the finals or to win.
He got Anthony Davis with him. He's always had max guys with him when he won.
I
do agree. I do think LeBron could do more with less. I do think that.
Come on.
No, I mean Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh.
Those are top of the top 10 players in the league.
Right.
All right, thanks for the call.
Yeah, good
Appreciate
call,
it.
but no.
Yeah, let's go to Andre in Massachusetts. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. Let's squeeze Andre in.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? Thanks for taking my call. Listen,
What's up?
all LeBron's philanthropic work, all of his community service awards, that doesn't factor into the GOAT conversation, not one iota, okay? He wants to climb Mount Olympus and get at Michael Jordan. He's going to have to win some championships on the court, also get some all-time records, namely the leading all-time scorer. To the point about LeBron's political aspirations, he absolutely could run for and be successful for president, and I'll tell you why. First of all, he can be governor of California. The Fair Pay to Play Act, which was signed on his show with Gavin Newsom, we already have a track record of celebrities being governor of California, i.e. Arnold Schwarzenegger. He secures that, okay, then he's one step away from the presidency. If he wants to be a politician and a power broker, he has established himself and built up the infrastructure. If he wants to do it. You mentioned Ronald Reagan, who was an actor, celebrity, similar background to LeBron.
Good call, Andre. That was a good call. He's our FS1 and FSR Fox Sports Radio NBA analyst and Bleacher Report senior writer, friend of the show, Rick Bucher. What's up, bro?
Rick, what's happening?
I'm just surprised if you guys didn't have some sort of a sound effect on the board as a response to that Orlando Magic joke. I'm really disappointed.
Right, it didn't even deserve it, Rick. It didn't even deserve it.
Hey,
we knew it was cut. We knew something.
Rick, where's Kawhi when you needed him? I needed a Kawhi right there.
Exactly.
Rick laughed. See,
Rick, we have been debating. We debated today. Vince Carter, is he a Hall of Famer or is he not? Where you stand?
You don't have to say anymore. You answered the question right there, Rick.
No, he didn't. Let him answer.
He's not a first ballot. I don't consider him a first ballot. But is he? You have to be distinctive. You have to be distinguished in some way, shape, or form. To me, Vince Carter, whether it's in game or exhibition, is the best dunker I've ever seen in the game. If you're going strictly by his resume and accomplishments as a player, he would be borderline, probably on the outside looking in. But when I consider what he meant as far as just that aspect of the game, it's hard. Let me flip it around. It's hard for me to imagine the Basketball Hall of Fame not having Vince Carter in it, considering the kind of performer that he was.
I agree, Rick.
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I think that, and especially when you look at the pro basketball, there's a lot of questionable people and the longevity and Tracy McGrady. Yeah, there's a lot. The Hall of Fame thing.
The
Hall of Fame
McGrady's in
McGrady,
and Chris Mullin, who was a great player, but I think Vince had a better career than Chris Mullin.
I think it's supposed to be the best of the best. That's me.
Well, but you take Mullin.
Because Vince was the leading scorer on that Olympic team in 2000.
Well, and you consider it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame.
No, I get it.
So you take the collegiate career into consideration, and so. But here's the thing: it is. Then this is the difficulty with the Basketball Hall of Fame is because it's taking international, it's taking women, it's taking referees, it takes everybody.
Yes.
So you don't have the same baseline, the ability to use the same baseline as you do. I mean, the baseball guys have it easy, right? It really comes down to a lot of numbers, and it can be really cut and dried. And I would say that if the NBA Hall of Fame could be the same way, if it was the NBA Hall of Fame. But because it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, there is extenuating circumstances. Like, for me, if you look just at the track record of Yao Ming, you'd say, okay, he was pretty good, but is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Does he get in first ballot? Like, you'd have to wait on that.
I don't think he would have been just on this play.
His impact internationally and what he meant bringing the game of basketball, what he symbolized for China and the world globally, and what he did as an ambassador between the two countries, I look at it and I go, yes, he was such a unique figure in the history of basketball that I have to put him in there. And that's the same logic or thinking that I have when I say that Vince Carter should be in too.
Rick, where are you? I don't know if you were on the call today the league and the Players Association had. I got on there, and they're obviously full speed ahead with the season. Do you think this is a bad idea? Obviously, you see the cases spiking, especially in Florida, or are you fine with this?
My concern certainly is location, it being in Florida, and their ability to maintain the bubble. Not with maybe I'm being naive in terms of with the players, but it has more to do with you have a certain number of hotel workers that have to come in and out, and personnel to be able to run the hotels and do whatnot. And my concern is that you're going to get some traffic there. And again, it's not even with the players. It's more with, 69-year-old Mike D'Antoni or 65-year-old Alvin Gentry. And we're not even looking at assistant coaches and some of the other personnel that are in their 60s, late 50s. So that is my concern. But I will say I am a realist, and in order for us to have next season, they have to finish this season. That's just the reality of it. And I'm not putting a whole lot of weight into, I'm not worried about asterisks. I'm not worried about quality play. I'm not worried about anything, because I know that just for the league to function, to satisfy their broadcast partners, to have the salary cap look something like, short of having to come back and rework the entire setup, they've got to finish this season. It's a business proposition. And so Adam is doing everything that he possibly can to make it as safe as possible. And as he said on the call today, they're not going to get to 100%. But I got to believe that with 16 players that tested positive
out of 302 or something like that.
Yes.
Yep.
They got to be doing handsprings. I got to tell you, the GMs that I talked to earlier in the week, they were like, some that were optimistic from the very beginning. They're like, we're playing. Before anybody was really buying into that, they're going, we're going to have a season, we're going to play. And one of them said to me, it was day before yesterday, with the test, before the test results came in, I said, so, how are you approaching this? And he goes, when you guys get back to playing? And he said, if we play. I was like, wait a minute, what? And he's like, he was expecting like this avalanche of positive tests. And the GMs were on a call with Adam saying, what's the number of positive tests that we would have to have for us to say we're going to rethink this and maybe we're not going to start? That's what they were thinking, and they thought it was going to be a number. He didn't give me a number, but I would dare say they probably thought 1 out of 3 was going to test positive.
Wow. Yeah, I would have thought about 100 itself. Well, last thing for me, Avery Bradley not being with the Lakers. How big of a blow is that for LeBron and the Lakers?
It hurts. It hurts. I mean, you don't think of Avery Bradley as being all of that, but he was a lot of what they needed, which was a two-way player, which was a defensive perimeter player. What he obviously had moved into the starting lineup. I don't know what Rajon Rondo is going to be when he gets back, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, this is really going to be a physiology test, right? Because the Lakers have a lot of old bodies in Rajon Rondo, Danny Green, and LeBron, who have to get back up to speed and get back up to speed quickly. And the question is going to be, are the young guns going to get there faster? or are the old heads? And what if the old heads has their level of experience? Have they stayed in better shape, knowing, having been through a few lockouts and whatnot, that you can't afford to let it get too far away from you, or you're going to have trouble getting back? I don't have the answer to that, but I've never thought that the Lakers, they were never the favorite in my mind. The Clippers have more top side talent, and they have more depth. And I just, even on a restart, I favored the Clippers more than the Lakers. So in my mind, Avery Bradley, I thought he was an important cog. And if J.R. Smith comes in, that's the best available, but I don't think he can do for you what Avery Bradley could, or they would have signed J.R. Smith a year ago.
Good stuff, Rick. We appreciate it, my man.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Be safe.
You got it, fellas. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Peace. More Odd Couple coming your way. Fox Sports Radio. Keep it locked.